All right, so we're looking at how to help you out with numbers 10, 11, 12 on the quiz. It says describe the transformations of the exponential function shown. So I've got 4 different functions. We're going to go through each of these. I'm going to show you how to go about it. So this first number, this 3 right here, because it's a positive, there's no reflection. But that 3 means you're going to stretch by 3. All right. The number that's essentially has the exponent, see how this 2 here? This 2 doesn't mean anything, so you don't really have to look at it very much for the transformation side of things. We may discuss that later because it tells you whether or not it's a growth or decay, so we'll talk about that later. But when it comes to describing the transformations, we don't have to worry about the number that has the exponent. But we do need to worry about this x plus 2. This x plus 2. The x plus 2 tells you left and right. Okay, so it's either going to go left or it's going to go right. Because it's a plus, plus moves to the left. And it's I know it's a little backwards, but that's how those exponents work. They always go the opposite of what you think. So that is going to go left 2. Left 2. And the last thing we look at is this minus 1 here. Is this minus 1. The number at the very end tells us where it goes up or down. And whatever it tells us, that's where we go. So if that says minus 1, that means we're going to go down 1. So this will be down 1. So those are the transformations going on in that one. For the second one here, we're looking at the second one. So again, we're going to look at that first number, and that's a fraction. It's 1 over 4. So instead of a stretch, we're actually going to have a shrink here because it is less than 1. It is less than 1. It's a shrink by 1/4. So because it's less than 1 but greater than 0, so we're looking for like a fraction there, it's a shrink by 1/4. All right? Again, not concerned about the 6 here, but we are concerned about this x minus 1. Again, it moves left and right. Because that is a minus, it's actually going to go to the right 1. All right, because that's a minus, it's going to go to the right 1. And I know, again, it's a little weird. That's kind of the hardest part of this, is knowing that. Because we would think that goes left 1 because it's negative. But actually with x minus 1, because it's a minus, it actually goes to the right. It's a little strange, we know. But something you just got to get used to for this. And again, this plus 2 at the end tells us up or down. Because it's a plus, we go exactly where it says. So this is going to be up 2. Up 2. We're going to keep this moving and go a little bit quicker through these. Again, we're looking at this number here. Notice this number has a negative. Because it has a negative, first thing you're going to write is it's going to reflect over the x-axis. It's going to reflect over the x-axis. That's the first thing because of the negative up front. Now that 2 is greater than 1, so it's going to stretch by 2. It's going to stretch by 2. That's a 2. All right, not concerned about the half, but we are concerned about the x minus 1. X minus 1 is going to move right 1. Remember, if it's a negative, it moves to the right. And then the plus 1 means it's, I'm going to put right 1, there we go. And then the plus 1 means it's going to go up 1. It's a positive 1, so it goes up. And last but not least, we look at this. Notice how this has up at negative 2. All these numbers had something in front. We don't actually see a number in front here. The 4 is the number that has the exponent. So all that negative means is that there's a negative 1 in front of the 4. So that negative means we reflect over the x-axis. There's not going to be a stretch or shrink here because it's a negative 1, and that 1 means it stays the same. So there is no stretch or shrink here. Again, because the 4 is the number that has the exponent, and we're not concerned about that 4. That doesn't tell us a stretch or shrink. It's the negative 1 in front here. So that's negative 1 times 4. That's kind of what that looks like if you actually were to write in the 1 and put the multiplication symbol there. And then next we're going to look at the x minus 3. That's a minus, so it's going to move to the right 3. So it's going to move right 3. Notice we don't have a number at the very end, and that's okay. If we don't have a number at the very end, then it doesn't move up or down. It actually stays at 0. So we're actually done. We actually did all the transformations for that exponential function. So again, go back and watch these. Make sure you're looking at these while you're answering numbers 10, 11, and 12. And I hope you get them right.